in regards to the septic. Septic system at Northwest. I recommend DTH Bobcat Service, Councilor Lynne Rider is willing to install this much needed system for no labor cost to the town. Total approximate component cost is under $2,000. Got a total of $1,956.90, which is obviously material.
All right, at this point, for the sake of discussion, I'll entertain a motion to accept the DPW director's, interim DPW director's recommendation. Do I have that motion?
Make a motion to accept.
Is there a second? Now we have discussion. Just so we're straight up and forward, this GTH Bobcat Services is my... I heard a second.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Then I thought you moved.
You moved.
Yes.
Okay, we'll back out. Remove your second. Huh?
I moved my second.
Okay, is there a second?
Sorry.
Okay. All right, discussion. I want to be straight up. This is my company. I've offered right from the get-go to install this at no cost. As you saw, the other bids were in excess of $8,000 to $11,000. It's pretty much a straightforward system. I am a licensed installer. Anybody wants the information, it's license 1678 for Island DEM. And if there's any further questions on it, it is overseen by not only the engineer who engineered the system, which breaks out the pots, and the state of Rhode Island DEM has the final approval and say on it. So, other than that, did you see a hand?
Who did the engineering?
I believe from the print I looked at, it was National Surveyors.
Who is?
Norbert Tharian,
A local?
I believe they're out of the socket. Any other questions?
I just have a, kind of not about the specific bids, but about the bid specifications. They seem to be at best vague. The bid that was proposed, or the bid spec was proposed, didn't have any performance bond attached to it. And that would be a recurring theme as we go through all these bids. There was no performance bond required, there was no insurance required. And it seemed that it was so vague that people bid on different systems, different sizes, right down to some people would reseed the area, some people wouldn't reseed the area, some people, I guess, take away the material, other people don't. It just seems to me that if we're going to send things out for bid, everybody should be bidding apples to apples, maybe.
Well, again, I've installed,
I'm not talking, I'm interrupting. I don't mean about the specific bids, I mean about the bid specifications that were sent out. That's right, I'm not concerned.
yeah, I have, again, like I said, I've probably installed well over 100 systems. And this is no different. What I get from any engineer, how I bid it out, I simply did the exact same things. The engineer has all the components on there. And we simply call for all the prices and come up with a price and a labor fee. My labor fee is zero, and the town's going to provide all the materials. And
Again, it's not about the specific bid, it's about the bid spec didn't call for labor and materials, it called for a total bid. That's just what the bid spec says, and just, when you start passing it out, and people could bid on different parts of it, I don't think everyone's given the same opportunity. And it's not just on this bid, it's as we go further down the list of bids, it's the same scenario in each.
We had it on a system that was, and they had specs, so they knew what they were doing.
It had an engineer, but didn't have specific types, there's no warranties, there's no, my biggest concern really is the performance bond, in that if someone starts a project, decides it's going bad, they can just leave with no repercussions.
on septic systems, the engineer owns it for the first year, and if he can find fault with the installer, it goes back on the installer. The state of DEM observes every single step along the way, as does the engineer. So
That really isn't my point. My point is if someone went in there who received this bid and said, hey, gee, I started today, but I have a much bigger project, so I have more money, I'm leaving. You now have no recourse to that person.
It's not addressing performance bonds.
Pardon?
They're not requesting this performance.
Correct. There is no, in the bid specification, there's no proof of insurance, there's no performance bond. That's part of the problem.
I will provide, in fact, I will provide insurance to the towns that do any place when I do install stuff. Again, I'm doing it for free, and I know that's not your issue, but it seems to me you're gonna probably, from the sound like maybe vote against this, but I just want to let you know that again, I've never had a complaint, speaking as a contractor, I've never had a complaint, I've never had one fail. I've heard nothing but good things when I install them. You can go online as a contractor, I'll give you my license number, it's there. I'm not gonna do any less performance for free than I do for money. I'm doing it because I wanna help the town out.
It's strictly a people being able to bid apples to apples. I mean, I'm sure that the other respondents, you want to give them the opportunity to say, can the town provide the materials? That's not how they read their bid specification.
The town is not providing the materials, the town is paying for the materials.
I don't see a huge difference, but
I'm the one that was other bids, it's the big, the paper, the town, pay for the whole thing.
I'm not sure, but that isn't how the bid spec is. We need to give a price for something.
Yes. They asked questions, they knew what they were installing, they priced it accordingly.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out what the performance is.
It's a performance bond. If this person, it's right down to, I guess, when you take, I don't know about, I assume you take out the bowling field, that's being hazardous waste. No one said where that goes. No one said take that away. There's nothing in the bid that says that. Those are my problems when the bid is not, in my thought, properly defined. There's a lot of loose ends when you just say, now, as a homeowner, I wouldn't have a problem doing this and saying, as a person who's responsible for other people's money, I think we should do our due diligence and when we do it correct. We're going to protect the people in the end. That's my main point.
Again, I've installed thousands of dollars worth of fire hydrants for the town, fire bonds, and I've never provided a performance bond because it costs money to provide that. When I do something for free, you know, I try my best. So at this point, any further discussion from the council?
I think we should just lock it and use this entire project.
I see a hand.
It is my understanding that whenever any government entity goes out for bid, the bids have to be extremely explicit. If you wanted the area reseeded, it would be down to what kind of grass seed would be used. This bid did not, as Mr. Whitelaw said, did not give other companies an opportunity to break it down into labor and materials. Also, by not having a bid that is extremely explicit, again, as Mr. Whitelaw said, you are not comparing apples to apples and oranges to oranges. Also, I would like to know, how big is this leach field? How big is it?
Would you know if I told you what I'm
Yes,
talking
give
about?
me dimensions.
It's designed for 8 people that use the place, so it would be about 400 and something square feet. It would be-
Are you-
Again, if you're gonna interrupt me, I won't further have any further discussion. It seems that every time I try to answer your question, you interrupt. It is probably one of the smallest leach fields. In fact, I can go on and say it is probably the smallest leach field that I have ever installed. It is smaller, it's about as small as a 1-bedroom house, because DEM sets different standards. A 1-bedroom house would be 115 gallons per day per bedroom on square footage on the leaching. So if this was a 3-bedroom house, it would equate to 6 mats to a bedroom. It would be 18 Elgin mats. This is 7 Elgin mats, so it's 1 mat above a 1-bedroom size house. because it's 45 gallons per day of usage per person in a place like this, because there's no shower, it's not people coming in and out like it would be a convenience store, no public bathroom. So it is on a small standard. As for the seating, DPW seats things all the time. If I go ahead and seat it, I'm gonna do that on my time. If I don't seat it, I think the DPW can go down there and seat it themselves. I think if you're gonna make an issue about seating, the entire spec that was written down on that thing is listed right here on every single component, which entails the operation of the system. C has nothing to do with an operation of the septic system. Every component that breaks down to an operation of the septic system is broke out in this list right here.
My issue is not with how the system is going to be put in. It is with the bid process. There is a legal procedure to be followed. I don't care if you put in the Rolls Royce of septic systems. There is a process and you are not following it. My other question is, who is providing, you said the town is paying for the materials. Where are they coming from?
You want to break that down for you too?
I would like to know, because I know that you do business and work for several gravel banks in the area, and I would like to know if any of them are areas where you have worked.
Okay, you have listed A through I. B can only be bought by one supplier because the system is an eligible system, and there is only one kinetic.
You're not answering my question.
Okay, again, I'm trying to.
You're not answering my question.
Okay, end of
How
discussion
can
on
you-
this. At this point, you have interrupted me when I tried to answer you. I will not continue this charade. At this point, I will recognize a hand in the back.
Yeah, apples to apples, there's two things going on here. Apples to apples is $3,500 to $8,000, so that's pretty much apples. Mr. Whitelaw's suggestion that he doesn't like the bid process in total with performance bonds and whatever, maybe he or the clerk could come up with some sample bids that you would consider later on. The rest of it, I'm going to say, I'm going to explain to the council and the audience the same thing I explained to the planning board the other night. DEM has final say on septics and wells, and when they okay a system that's been designed by an engineer, the rest of what everybody has to say is crap. Thank you, Lynn.
Again, just to add on to that, this system, when it's done being installed, needs what's called a certificate of conformance turned in by DEM and approved through the engineer for the system to be used and considered a running system. So with that, does anybody else have anything to say about this? I recognize a couple of people more than once. I do see a hand over here. And again, please say your name before you start.
I know I came in kind of late, but are your materials, does that include the diesel? To run your equipment?
I'm doing that all for free. That's all on my dime.
You're paying for diesel? or-
Yes, sir. I am paying for everything and installing the system on my dime. The only thing I'm asking the town to do is purchase the material. They can purchase it wherever they want. I don't care. A riser's a riser's a thing. They all have to be certified, Rhode Island certified stuff by DEM. They can get it wherever they want. So yes, the fuel, my time, hauling the equipment, putting it in, installing it, is all on me. Perfect.
I think we all want to thank Mr. Rogers.
So, again, I've recognized you a couple of times. You've interrupted me. I think we beat this up enough. I'm not going to do the charades one. I'm really not. I'm
I
trying
would
to be
like
as
you to ask
accurate
the
as
lawyer a
possible.
question, the solicitor.
He doesn't
Is this a properly
Again, Ms. Riley, you have not been recognized.
municipal bid? For the record, is this a properly exercised municipal bid? Was this done properly?
Just to let you know, it was an engineered system, and when we picked up the bid, I picked up the bid, it was designed from the engineer, and I gave a price to install it.
Not the bid.
So the information I got from the town is, here's the septic system, here's the design, give us a price on installation. I guess that's
Not
what
the
she asked.
process.
And just to interrupt you, but the price is zero. That's my problem. You provided a price that everyone else has said, this is how much it's supposed to be on the system. You provided, you said zero. That's, it's a, well, if you want to do it for zero and include the labor, I'm with you. I don't have a problem with that, but to come in and say, I'm gonna charge zero, except that other people need to provide materials, that seems to be, the bid says zero.
So we have a problem if nobody else did zero? Is that what you?
If you want to bid zero,
I'm trying to figure out why we're gonna beat this dead horse
It's
for
the
an hour.
process, the legal
Again, you have
process.
not been recognized.
We volunteered to put the system in. It's substantial savings to the town. And we're gonna argue this back for how long? How long are we gonna argue before you decide, gee, let's just say $8,000?
I didn't, that was my point. My point is a bid process. That's the point. Not
They all bid on the same thing.
Again,
They all bid on the same thing.
I think we've addressed it. I'm gonna call for a
How
vote
about
on this. At
legal?
this point, I am gonna call for a vote. All those in favor of the recommendation of the DPW director signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Now, we have a question.
This
Now we
is
have
council member
another,
voting.
excuse me, you have